I don't know if we can.
My tie in hand.
Mayor?
There's a way to do it. We have an off switch. Are we ready?
He said yes.
Okay. I'd like to call to order this committee of the whole meeting for Tuesday, February 1st, 2022. Roll call, please.
Nicker?
Here.
Mark?
Here.
Boyd? Burgess?
Here.
Herdman?
Here.
Lear?
Here.
5 ayes, 0 nays, 1 absent. There is a quorum.
All right. Sarah, do we have any virtual attendees? Okay, so let me know and we'll bring them in when they do come in. In the meantime, I think we'll just move on to item number 3, which is general public comments. Registration is required, and we do have one from Neil Tettenbauer. If you'd like to come up, Neil, or to the microphone. If you could state your name and address, and then there's a 3-minute time limit.
I can hear it running.
Yeah, I'm Neil Tettenbauer.
Can you pull the microphone down just a little bit? Thank you.
And we're going to talk about the police department. And what it is I picked somebody up for no taillights on the back end of their trailer. Wasn't even hooked up to the truck. And they were up here at Pizza Hut. Up here
Domino.
uptown here. And anyway, I turned them in. And the police officer went to that place and saw what was going on. And they didn't do nothing about it. So I went back down to the police station the next week and turned it in again. And I talked to a police officer, and he says, well, you got the license number? I says, well, you ought to have a record of it. And that was the last, and he says, you didn't have to get funny about it. I says, well, it's your job. And anyway, went by another week, went down there again for the next week, same thing. He didn't do nothing about it. I talked to another guy, and he says, well, I'll take care of it. That never happened. So the next week, I went to Green Lake Courthouse, and they finally got it straightened out. Now, I'm going to tell you something else that happened. I got stopped a couple years ago, practically right in front of my house, a neighbor lady right on the corner close to Washington, D.C., Washington Street. And anyway, all they give her a ticket for was unsafe backing. She backed out of her driveway, a hell of a kite, blacked right into the side of my truck, and I'm parking by the parked cars I was driving. And the reason I do that, because the stop sign's right there, and you got people from the right are on my side of the street. Well, anyway, the police officer got there, and I handed him all my paperwork. And apparently he didn't read it all. And he jumps all over me. He says, well, you have license plates on the back end of your trailer? Well, by that time, I'm mad. And I told him, I says, I tell you what, if you can't read what's in that envelope, and if you're able to walk to the back end of the trailer, you'll see the plates. Them are the things I was mad about. And I'm going to tell you something. They never picked him up for no license plates on his trailer, but they were all over my butt because I didn't have a license, or they thought I didn't have a license on it. And I'm going to tell you a lot of stuff that happened right here in Berlin. It's outrageous. You got all these people that come out of that Boys and Girls School on Washington Street. They come out of there because it's on a slant. They're driving on the wrong side of the street, going to the east. And this stuff has happened over there at Quick Trip, the same thing. They're all on the wrong. They come out of that Quick Trip where the trucks are going in. And you get there by the stop sign, they're all on my side of the street. You got to stop for them. It's unbelievable. And you meet cars on the street, they can't even judge a car on the parking side. They're on the middle of the street when they go through there. Unbelievable. And then I'm going to tell you something else. I'm on the road a lot because I know a bunch of lawns. I come down Wisconsin Street and I get to the Broadway and I stop at the stop sign and I was going straight through. The car side of me should have went to the right. Instead, he pulled right out in front of me, and going straight through. And you come from Green Lake, I come from there a lot, and on that curve to go to Westwood Street, on that curve, a lot of them are on the yellow line going over that way too. And then when you go down to Westwood Street, I'll guarantee you they're all going 35 miles an hour and better. And that goes all the way through my place all from Washington Street. They're all speeding down that street too at Equitable. And most of them don't even use the signal light when they get to the stop sign. Because I live 2 houses from the corner, so I know exactly what's going on. And I'm going to tell you why this is going on. I also went down Washington Street coming from 49 or 21 way from the north. I get to the stop sign there right on Proudie's corner. And the car went right straight through in front of me, up into it. And then I find the police officer sitting right over there by the stop. He never bothered to stop him or nothing. This is the stuff that's going on in this town that's out of control, but that's my side of it.
Okay.
And there's something needs to be done about it. And I don't think nobody knows anything about this. And I'm going to tell you something else. I go through this town a lot, right through past the police department on Main Street. They got 2 cop cars sitting in front of the building. They got 2 cars sitting in the back. And you go through there anytime you want to go there, and they're all sitting there just as plain as day. And then I had a little issue about over
Okay.
by the
Coming up on 3 minutes, Dale.
45 Bank too. That parking lot there, the young kids throw all their garbage out there, and then the city of Berlin picks up all the garbage for them. Don't bother to give them a ticket because that would be too hard. And I feel like that's wrong because I'm one of the taxpayers paying the city to pick up the garbage that shouldn't be there. They should get a fine for it. I got nothing else to say.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Neil.
I hope you get it straightened out. And I even talked to the police chief about this stuff too, and he didn't say a word. I told him right out, you shouldn't even be working there because if they turn in a ticket, you ought to see what it gets done. Nobody does nothing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah, did we have one to see? No. Okay. All right. Moving on to item number 5 then, which is resolution 2201.
No,
Nope.
4.
Let's go back to item number 4 first. Item number 4 is the approval of the minutes. The recommendation is to approve the minutes from the January 4th, 2022 Committee of the Whole meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
Yeah, we got the time limit out. Thank you. Okay, so a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Minutes are approved. Now we'll do item number 5, which is the resolution 22-01 to authorize staff to apply for DNR funding. The recommendation being to recommend to Common Council to approve and adopt resolution number 2201. Authorize staff representatives to file application for financial assistance from State of Wisconsin Environmental Improvement Fund. Sarah.
Okay, this is the very beginning stages of potentially looking at some funding from the DNR to remove lead line laterals from the city of Berlin. We have talked to Sewer and Water Commission already. They are interested in looking at this funding, but I need authorization from you guys to be able to apply for it in the first place.
Sounds pretty straightforward. Any questions? So yes.
I have no questions.
Okay.
I'm on the Sewer and Water Commission, obviously, as a liaison. I was at the meeting Sarah's speaking of, and I can honestly say that the commission has, for all the years I've been on there, tried to eliminate lead lines as often as they come up. And this is just another step into a very big part of their goal to eliminate these. So I'm all for this. And they are, as she said, so I would like to make a motion.
Okay.
I only have one question on the resolution.
Mhm.
It says that the city administrator is hereby appointed as the authorized representative, but Sarah's only signing her attest as city clerk. So then who is the administrator? Didn't we do something about removing Jody? So wouldn't you be the administrator?
I am the administrator. Yep, that was the resolution. I would sign as the clerk, but the actual documents for the application, I sign as the administrator.
Okay, that's what I wanted to clear up. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay. We do have a motion. Is there any further discussion first, though?
I think Jim should make this motion.
He already made the motion.
No,
Oh, go ahead.
there wasn't a motion or a second yet.
All right.
I will.
We'll go with the motion then.
I motion that we recommend to council to approve and adopt resolution 22-01 authorizing staff representative to file applications for financial assistance from the state of Wisconsin Environmental Improvement Fund.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, second by Marks. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I
Anyone opposed? All right, that passes. We'll go ahead and recommend that. On to item number 6, which is the virtual meeting voting. Recommendation is listen to staff presentation concerning virtual equipment with action and discussion as appropriate. And this has been going for a little while.
It has been. I have an update from Spectrum for the encoder piece that we're waiting on. It's stuck in Canada. Thanks to, there's a trucking thing. I'm not really aware of what's going on, but yeah. So it's stuck in Canada at the moment. It's our final piece that we're waiting on. I know that Christina had requested that this be on the agenda for today because she wanted you guys to discuss the possibility of allowing voting at meetings again virtually. Because at the moment they can participate, but they can't vote.
Yep, we had talked about this a year ago or so, something in that
Yes.
range.
It was under an emergency resolution, and Matt can correct me on this if I'm saying anything wrong. But since then, that emergency resolution has expired, and we never approved another one because we wanted to wait until all of the equipment was installed before allowing that to go forward. And we're still waiting, although we are getting requests from boards to start allowing virtual voting.
So let me just ask this one. This is the last piece we're waiting for, correct? Everything else should be in
According to
place?
Spectrum.
According to Spectrum, okay.
I have a question. You're talking about, it's two issues on the agenda tonight. It's the library and then the general.
Yes.
Right.
But the library, and even any boards, I guess, the question is, and I noticed you wrote, or she wrote in her background that it says, all meetings are made accessible to everyone, including public attendees, but that is really the big issue. And that's why I thought this room was the only one that was going to be fully capable of doing that. Are you saying that the library has
Virtual equipment?
similar to this?
No, not on the same level, but it does have speakers. It has a projector with a screen that comes down. Because I attended their last meeting, and they did have some members that were there virtually but didn't vote.
So so from a perspective that I've been working with, is that the big question is everybody that's tied in remotely going to be able to see and hear everything that everybody in person can hear and see?
Yes, I would say based on how their equipment is set up,
Okay.
they can see what's going on at the meeting and hear.
Okay.
The one that was attending virtually was taking minutes, so she could clearly understand and hear
So
what was
we're
happening.
talking more on item number 7 right now. Did we want to?
Well, I mean, I don't
It's
know,
kind of
I don't
tied
know which
together.
one-
Okay, we can
You
combine
guys-
them. I'm okay with that. I just want to make
Yep.
sure that we're talking.
I mean,
the
it
same
really
thing.
applies generally, but that was the big question as to why we were assessing the
this
equipment,
room.
was to
Yep.
determine whether or not the equipment would live up to its expectations,
Mhm.
which is that anybody remotely hearing has all the same advantages as if they were in person, and that was the key,
Right.
to be able to meeting any requirements. So
Got it. Okay, Jim.
It just seems to me we're putting the cart before the horse. We got equipment, but we don't have operational equipment. And until we get that, I think this is moot right now.
I agree.
I agree.
Me too.
So at this point, Jeff? I agree. Okay, so at this point, it looks like we're not against talking about it, just not yet, till we have everything hooked up. So, so let's bring into item number 7, if we can, right away, the library board virtual voting. Pretty much based on the same thing. We want to combine these and just say to put both of these off, or do we want to talk about the library separate?
I say that it has to come, if we're not able as a city to do it, I don't believe that the library should be able to do it.
I can't imagine that they have the equipment to live up to the standards that Matt's talking about.
And I haven't personally seen it, so I'm not sure.
I do know that the people that are trying to join virtually are Chris from the library and Kay Rathel, who is the chair of the library board. So I'm trying to get them
Give
connected.
them in.
There was a
Okay.
bit of a disconnect about the passcode. So if you just give me a
They're
minute,
not here because our equipment is not
it's
ready.
not there yet.
So I motion that we table item 6 and 7 until we can actually.
I'll second that.
Could we put 7 off to, if they do come in, to give them a chance to talk yet?
I don't think that'll, it's gonna
All boards
change.
and committees, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Everybody's gotta go or nobody goes. That's my personal opinion.
And
is-
that's
There's a
what
note that I
said,
have
yep.
down here.
Yep.
I don't think even if they join us, it'll change.
Do we have a
Everybody
motion?
feels the same way.
Yes.
Yeah, we do. I'm just further discussion here, so just waiting to see if they are on. Did we get them on, Sarah? Okay. We will take that vote in a minute. Oh, yeah. Jim, could you
Jim, and,
state the motion
and by
again?
the way,
Jim
the
motion
table.
to table and
I
I
motion to
Yeah.
motion,
table
I
item
second.
6 and item
Item
7
7.
until the point where our equipment
Is
is able to live up to the standards that the city attorney has described.
I would, the only thing I would recommend is postpone rather than table.
yes.
I think that's what you're meaning.
No, I said
Ta-
table. I
table
want
has
table.
a, tabling means it only goes to the next meeting, next regular meeting. Postpone goes to the
Jim,
point where
make the motion postpone instead of table because table
We'll
gets
make it
killed.
Postpone that.
Yep.
I
it's just,
disagree.
it's just a
Just
different,
the wording, but it makes a
different
difference.
meaning technically. So,
Yep.
yeah.
And I agree to the postpone.
Okay. So at this point, we've got the motion and the second to the
Correct.
postponing.
Chris is on.
Chris is on.
Chris, I know you're muted, but could you unmute? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, Rachel and Chris are
Chri-
here.
Chris, right now we're about to vote on postponing these until we have working equipment. Did you have any comment though before we do that?
Are you talking about number 6 or number 7?
Combined 6 and 7.
Okay. I guess I would request, we are just requesting that the library board be allowed because we do have the equipment for both audio and visual for both in-person and anybody attending through virtual meetings. So we have a different setup than what you guys do. So we were just asking for an exception for the library board.
And Sarah, you were there last month and could see what we had.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions about the equipment, Chris can answer those for you.
Do you understand all that?
Where
Yep.
are,
Did you understand a word they said?
Okay, so they were saying that their equipment is separate from ours, and they do have the ability now to conduct them.
One of the questions I have is, are all of our meetings recorded?
Our meetings are yes.
Are theirs? I want all meetings recorded. then.
Chris, are all your meetings recorded?
No, they are not, and they never have been.
Okay. All right. Does that change anything on your motion?
Which
Jim,
are
or is it still-
accessible.
Not a bit.
No, that-
Okay. All right. So we still have that motion, and we'll go ahead and vote on the motion to postpone 6 and 7. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
So you
All right. Sorry, Chris, but that one passes for now. It's postponed until we get our equipment, which hopefully is coming. All right.
So just, I guess it's not really worthwhile to make any comments now, but even if we do have, once you do have all the equipment, we are not going to be moving the, as far as I know, the library board meetings to City Hall, so ours still will not be recorded.
Okay. All right. Well, that'll come up in the discussion when they go through there. We're talking about all the boards together, basically. All right. So that one is postponed. 6 and 7. Item number 8 is the 107 West Huron raise and repair order. The recommendation is listen to the staff update. Tim.
Can everybody hear me? All right. All right. For 107 West Huron, there's not really been a whole lot new in the last month other than we're just inching closer to the official court date for that, which will be Wednesday the 9th. That will be, the collaborative effort to have that all organized and ready for that is what my report here does describe. And we feel like there's a pretty valid case for what we'd be asking for as far as that citation goes.
So that was talking about the citations we talked about instilling.
Yep.
Okay.
I guess, are there any questions?
so, and we're just waiting for it to go to court.
Correct. At this point,
To find out
the
what.
9th of February
Yeah.
was the
Yep.
court date? Okay.
And I can just tell you at that, if that's the initial appearance date, what'll happen is if the owner shows up, they'll enter a plea, and if that plea is not guilty, then it'll get set for a discussion with me, called pretrial, and then I'll talk to the person, and if that doesn't get resolved, it'll go to trial, and then we'll go from there. If they don't show up, it'll get defaulted, meaning the court will just enter judgment against the person for what's requested. That's probably, even though that sounds like it might be a good resolution, it's not really probably a good resolution because it means the person's just ignoring it. So we kind of want them to not ignore it. So we'll see. But I guess I just wanted you to know what the process is. Yeah.
Any other questions for Tim or Matt? Okay. So at this point, we'll just wait and see on the court date. All right. Excuse me. On to item number 9, which is the commercial signs removal on vacant properties. Recommendation is listen to staff presentation with discussion and action as appropriate. And again, that's Tim.
Okay. Well, just over the last month, completed the task of, I believe, analyzing the bulk of the signs that would be considered to be on vacant properties or vacant uses. And a good portion of those have been handed warnings, as you can see on this. I've also, in addition to that, did get over to the J&T Foods sign and got that one all organized and sent out as well to the appropriate property owner. I mean, there are probably several other properties where I've been in conversation with people, and that's what I allude to when I say that I'm going to give it, or I would request that we have a little more time to see. I'd say that there are a few that have prospective tenants or sales that could occur that might affect their decisions as far as what they're doing with their signage. And that's about that. Any questions on there?
So you're just asking for another month or two, or?
I'd say that for the ones that didn't have a warning, that I'd want to give them a good month to see if there's the follow through that they say that there's going to be.
Okay. Other questions about signs? Okay, thank you, Tim. All right, and item number 10 is, if necessary, motion to convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statutes 1985 1C to consider employment, promotion, consideration, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. The items are: number 1, discussion concerning the EMS wages, and number 2, discussion concerning clerk wages. Should we have a motion?
That you keep me and Evan first, and then we'll kick them out.
Okay, so we're looking to see 2 members here.
I'm going to shut everything down.
We have to go into
We gotta have that.
Yep, we have to go to close first. So we need that motion first.
I'll make a motion to go into close.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Yep, yeah.
Have a good night.
All right, roll call.
Nick Bear?
Aye.
Mark?
Yes.
Boyd?